Oh
Three,
no,
2, 1.
2.5.
And we are live once again. I have returned once again from the wastelands of the internet to bring you joy in this festive season, along with Batman. How's it going, Batman? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, don't you feel lucky?
I know, I always do. It's just one of those things.
Yes. And by the way, folks, Lucky is his pet Rottweiler,
So,
who he
before
feels
before before
often.
we before we get into the news, all right, Batman. Seriously, serious question. It has nothing to do with real news per se. I'm just curious about some things. Um, there's been a couple of movies that I've been kind of intrigued with. All right, that have come out. All right, one is
Right.
Creator, one is Napoleon. All right. My first question is have you seen either one
I haven't heard of the first one. Then what do I want to go and watch a film about a little fucking guy who wanted to be French,
of them?
a little Corsican guy.
The general in which
The
everybody took
Napoleon one.
everything over. The one who set
Yeah.
up there and created the justice system for the EU for all intents and purposes. Am I missing something?
Hold on. Justice system and EU. They are not mutually inclusive terms.
Well, that's probably true. You probably have a
I
point there.
only I only wish Jensen cringed. I mean, Quinn was here to argue against you on that one.
It would be interesting to do this. But
Yep.
you haven't heard of Creator?
Nope, but I've heard both good and bad things about the Napoleon one. It's the way Hollywood is now. They've probably turned him into a black trans woman
I don't know.
who's Muslim.
I'm kind of curious to see it only because of the historical aspects of it. I mean, let's be perfectly frank
Yeah.
here. This guy was not a. The word wallflower doesn't apply to Napoleon.
Well, no, if he was a wallflower, would never have heard of him.
You know what I mean by that.
Yeah, but isn't it funny how France's greatest military and political leader in all of history wasn't French?
um, well, you can say that, but King Louis XIV was really the greatest and had the most influence, but it just turned out bad for
Hold on. The greatest.
him. Hmm.
He was severely mentally retarded. He was ridiculously inbred. Subnormal size heart, and apparently 2 blackened lumps where his testicles should have been.
I don't think you and I are talking about the same guy. Just putting it out there.
The one
ready,
who had his head chopped off.
ready to start? Let's start with this.
Yeah.
Guardian website forced to remove Osama bin Laden's anti-Semitic letter to America.
Silence! I kill you!
The Guardian has deleted Osama bin Laden's anti-Semitic letter to America from its website after it went viral and received praise among teenage TikTok users.
Oh, Christ.
A spokesman for the newspaper said that it had deleted the terrorist diatribe after it was widely shared on social media without full context by pro-Palestinian activists. Let's talk about this for a moment.
I bet Shamima Begum liked it.
What the real problem with this, folks, and I'm serious about this. The real problem with this is not the
amount of anti-Semitism in the world, Western world at the moment is roughly equivalent to that level, the level of anti-Semitism prior to World War II.
it is, and it's actually yes and no. Okay, the problem is that it's growing. All right, it's growing in leaps and bounds, and people are believing stupid nonsense about it. Okay,
Yep.
and
the innocence of Hamas.
Well, it's not just the innocence of Hamas. Right, first of all, if you ever read this bullshit from freaking Osama bin Laden, the biggest problem is that you can't take it the way he does it as context. All right, and of course that's what these flippin' fools do. And this is the
Yep.
problem with these people. Okay. And this also is the same problem, by the way, with these idiots that don't understand, okay, what this fight going on in Israel is
They don't
really all
understand
about.
what they don't understand that what the chant they use means.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
Well,
from the river to the sea.
it's not just the
Yeah,
chant that they don't understand.
uh, hold on. Do you know what "from the river to the sea" means? Don't you? It
Yes, I do.
means exterminate Israel. Get rid
Yes,
of it.
yes, I know that. All right, but the other problem with
And they're going on about the Israelis being genocidal.
right,
They're not.
no,
There are lots of Palestinians who have Israeli citizenship and do not support Hamas, who support Israel.
but there's not enough.
They seriously are.
And there's not enough. And the problem is this is where I get irritated with people like the the utensil, the aristocratic utensil, and why I get irritated with people like Aiden Paladin. These are not bad people, and for most of
Mhm.
what they say, I firmly am behind and agree with. But the problem that these people fail to understand is you are thinking like a civilized person, and you're taking that civilized mentality and you're overlaying it, all right, over the top of a bunch of 12th century barbarians.
No, they're worse than that.
Well, vermin, okay.
Uh, their culture started in the 12th century, but its hallmarks are very Bronze Age.
Yes, yes. No, I don't disagree with that at all right. And you're not going to convince these people, and I'm talking the people, okay? I'm not talking Hamas. I'm talking the people that put Hamas in charge, that follow Hamas, that sit up there and look at Hamas as the
That
appropriate
volunteer to
way.
be human shields.
Well, as they volunteering to be human. I saw a video on TikTok, not TikTok, excuse me, on X, Twitter, right, where this guy was a Palestinian and his poor child has lost her legs and her feet and she's going to be like this, because of the Israeli bombings and everything. And I spent 14 years, in a fertility clinic trying to have my child, and I finally had my child. And the first thing that I got to, right, I know where everyone else is going. Hello, Chris. All right, hi, Lou. All right, I know where everyone else is going. Oh, the poor child, and I grieve for the child. I do feel for the child, but my first question is
Yep.
my first question is this guy's a Palestinian living in the West, living in the Gaza Strip. How can he afford a fertility clinic? Here's my next question.
One, what?
Here's my next
Hold
question.
on. There's one thing. There's what? Hold on. Before you go, part answer to that question. What a lot of people in the West, especially people who are free Palestine idiots,
Don't Gaza bro
don't
fight
know
me, bro.
is there are luxury hotels in Gaza.
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously,
yeah.
there are luxury hotels and resorts.
And this is and it goes back even further. Okay, how is having a fertility clinic, if they are such suffering? You're gonna tell me they have fertility clinics in a place that is absolutely oppressed, where the people are suffering? And if the fertility clinic isn't in the Gaza Strip, then how did he get out of the fertility clinic, or out of the quote unquote gas chamber slash
Right?
prison, open air prison, all right, to go to the fertility clinic? See, these people don't understand who this stupid son of a bitch is. I feel for his
Yeah.
daughter. All right, I don't feel for him in any way, shape, or form, because he wanted this to happen to his daughter. He knew this was going to happen to his daughter, and he did nothing. He's waving his daughter like a bloody freaking rag. She's
Yep,
nothing
he is.
but meat to him.
And until this attack by Hamas, there was free movement from into Israel from the Gaza Strip,
It's literally
both ways.
it's literally a concentration camp.
I mean,
Matt
yeah,
Barkley.
there's people working, live in Gaza, working in Israel, or live and work in Gaza and shop in Israel.
Oh yeah, that does happen. Mr. Barkley, let the desert people fight each other. Okay, we did that. It led to 9/11. Wake the hell up. Okay, What goes on over there
like I've said,
doesn't
like I've
stop
said,
over there. If you want to
like I've
understand
said
the
before,
mentality of these people, where are all these freaking fools that are bitching? There's war crimes. Okay, well, what do you call this? The IDF publishes evidence of weapons found inside the Shifa Hospital's MRI center. The Israeli Defense Forces released evidence of Hamas weapons found inside Shifa Hospital during a raid in the medical center today. It says members of the elite Shaldag unit and other forces of the 36th Division found the weapons inside of the Shifa's MRI center. Right? Troops had battled Hamas gunmen outside the hospital, killing 5. During searches inside one of the hospital wards, the troops located a room containing unique technological means, all right, combat equipment and military equipment used by Hamas terrorist organization. In other words, these supposed we gotta save the humanitarian crisis. Oh my God! What they're doing is they're letting their people starve to death. They're letting their people die because they won't give them electricity from the fuel oil, and then they sit up there and bitch and go, "Oh, it was against the hospital." These people. Okay, this is a mentality. And before somebody says, well, that's Hamas, that's just Hamas, that's not the average person. The average person in Gaza voted these son of a bitches in. And over 70% of them voted. So don't tell me the problem is just Hamas. And this is the problem that I have with the way the Israelis are running this occupation right now, or running this whole freaking thing. They should be carpet bombing this entire area until the people go, okay, we get it. We'll stop being savage vermin. Because that's what it's going to take, folks. It's not pleasant. It's not polite. It's horrific that it has to come to that. But that's what it took in World War II.
People who go on about a two-state solution are completely ignoring the fact that the Palestinians, every Palestinian organization from the get-go, have stated that they will not rest until there is no Israel.
What is the what am I wrong about? Right? Why does Israel get to lobby and send all?
Hold on. They voted to kick out Israel, which is fair. How's it fair? That was part of Israel. The Palestinians were given fucking brilliant fucking deals for land. No. Most of the time, they were given offered the best fucking land, and every time they rejected it.
Yeah, there have been a number of attempts to sit up there and create a two-state solution. There's not going to be able to. It's impossible. Okay, and it's not just because of Jerusalem, but Jerusalem is one of the biggest sticking points. All right, but the problem that I have with people.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who built Jerusalem? No, in fact, who founded most of the
Lou, I hate to tell you this, but gunpoint diplomacy is diplomacy, and if you don't think it works, ask China.
Yep, okay? They use it all the time.
If you don't think it works, and it's not a false equivalent, what am I claiming as a false equivalence here? Okay. Please tell me, explain to me what's a false equivalent.
Kind of what gunpoint diplomacy. That's kind of what Hamas is trying to use.
It is what Hamas is using.
Yeah.
Yiddish and Hebrew are not necessarily the same
thing. Yiddish and Arabic come from the same linguistic roots.
Lou,
that's why they're
murdering children in bed and targeting them isn't resistance. Resistance against an occupying force, I would agree with. That's not what this is, though. All right, don't come back. When somebody talking about a false equivalency, you just laid one. There's a huge freaking difference between standing up against the police force or standing up to an armed force and going out there, well, that's a little too tough for us. Let's kill their children. Let's murder their children in their beds. Let's put freaking bombs on our 5-year-olds and send them to schools on buses so that we can hit the soft targets because we're too freaking cowardly to actually go after the hard ones and quote unquote fight the resistance. And as far as saying they never accepted the Jews, I'm going to tell you something, pal. Back in the day, in the early 1900s, all right, they sold that land to the Jews. Where do you think the kibbutzes came from? It wasn't they went in there and kicked out anybody. The kibbutzes were purchased. It was a land purchase from various factions, including various Zionist factions, including in the United States, that raised millions and millions of dollars, which close to $1 billion in today's terms, okay? In this return to Israel movement.
If we look at it, saying that the Jews are invaders and that land was originally a Jewish nation anyway.
All right. I'm going to say something else to you, Lou. Okay. It doesn't matter how you feel. Hold on, just real quick here. I'll let you finish. Then you can take over. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how you think. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't. That's not how they think. You are making the same mistake that a lot of these people make. Oh, they're just like us. They're not like us. Okay, they are not.
No, they're not.
And you'd better get it through your head that they don't think like we do, that their cultural overlay is murder and death to anybody that disagrees with them. That's how they live. That's how they've chosen to live. It's not a joke, folks.
Yeah, you're going about the Jews being the invaders. That land was a Jewish state. It was a Jewish state when the Romans were in power. It was a Jewish state when the Roman Empire fell. The invaders were fucking Arabs, not the Jews.
Well, most of the Jews were kicked out by the Romans. You do remember the whole diaspora in 70, 79, I think it was? 79 to 90 AD?
And the Palestinians aren't a single ethnic group either.
No,
they're made up from different fucking nomadic fucking peoples.
No, actually no.
They're all
okay.
Hold on. They're also not liked by the other Arabic peoples. I mean, they've tried invading just about every fucking country in that fucking area. If you remember, they tried to take over Jordan.
Yes, they
did. They tried to kill the king of Jordan. The Egyptians don't want them.
Black September, for those who don't know what he's referring to.
Judaism came out in 600 AD. The Old fucking Testament is part of the Jewish Bible, you dick. Jesus Christ was a Jew.
The Roman text considered Judea. It's just lost on apparently. Either that or he enjoys me yelling. Let's get on to the next story, shall we? Moved this a little too far. The U.S. is finally hitting back at Iran's murderous proxies. Since the brutal October 7th attack on Israeli civilians, all right, which many pundits have worried that Israel would widen the conflict by dragging the United States into the war with Iran. Okay, and that's something I do oppose, by the way. But, well, I oppose dragging the U.S. into a war with Iran. Iran should have been a glass parking lot back under the Iraq War.
Hold on, going back to this. This is still going on about there. So, because there was an evolution, a change in the Jewish religion, that invalidates it. So that means that means Catholicism, Protestantism, Methodism, the evangelical churches of Christianity are all invalidated.
Anyway, Nevertheless, Iran is unlikely to go to war with the United States for one simple reason. Despite the mullah's incendiary rhetoric against both American Great Satan and Israeli Little Satan, Iran's rulers, all right, dare not attack American forces directly. Really, they have in the past. They
Hmm.
have in the past.
Either
Okay,
directly or through proxies.
this shows you who is it? Who wrote this stupid thing? Hey, Dov Zakim, all right, or Haim, however you want to put it, you're an idiot. They have in the past, and they'll continue to do so in the future. The closest
Hmm.
Tehran has come to confronting American units directly was in the Arabian Gulf. Even then, the incidents have not led to direct clashes. For example, on June 4th, three Iranian Revolutionary or Republican Guard fast attack boats were carrying armed men approached the commercial ship. Presumably, the men were preparing to board the ship. The attack craft retreated when the U.S. and British warships came to the commercial ship's aid. Okay, that's June 4th. Do you remember when they launched Silkwood missiles at us, moron? Oh, did you forget about that whole incident there? Did you forget the fact that they
Oh,
attacked the Vincennes, all right, which the Vincennes then repelled earlier in the day, and then
yep.
was when their commercial airliner, all right, flew over us, and the Vincennes blew it out of the sky, killing 300 quote unquote civilians. Do you remember all that? Apparently you don't. Apparently you don't remember the Republican Guards and Salami attacking American troops in Iraq. Now, the one good thing is this, because we've started saying, hey, we've had enough, because Joe Biden actually said, oh, wait a minute here, we've actually got to start doing things. You end up with this. Iran's betrayal leaves Hamas nowhere to go. Well, you're wrong about that, because it was not only Israel, which was unaware in advance of the atrocious October 7th attack. Iran's supreme leader has accused Hamas of not giving any prior warning. You're a liar. Okay? Khomeini signed off on it. Okay? I want you to understand this. We woke up to war, a Hezbollah commander said. This is, as the saying goes, no honor among thieves. It was surely a pivotal moment in the conflict. All right, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, all right, has now told Hamas that while Iran would continue to provide political and moral backing, aka weapons, all right, it would not intervene directly because they know what is coming. That's why the Ayatollah Khamenei knows they can't stop the United States from wiping them off the face of the earth. And you know what they were told? They were told by the Russians, you're on your own. That's why Iran is doing this. And China was trying to instigate it until the Iranians realized these son of a bitches can't give us any kind of real support. They're too far away. China's been clapping them on the back. Yeah, go get them, boys. Go get them. But the reality is what did China do? Did China sit up there and sail any of its warships down there? No, they ignored all that. They didn't make any support. The fight between whites and Jews was the.
Most Jews in the world are white because of conversion and intermarriage with Europeans.
Anyway, I'm not getting into a racial freaking discussion. There is a racial component to the Hebrews. Okay,
Yeah,
because
but like I said, most of them are like I said, most of them are white because of intermarriage and conversion in Europe.
I agree, but they do have, for whatever reason, an over attachment to
Big noses.
to blood to blood lineage is what I was referring to. Okay, one drop rule for me. I don't know what that means. If you want to understand who you're dealing with and what the Hamas group is like, and this is the entire region of Arabs.
They'd be exactly the same with any other group that isn't what they consider Palestinians.
Right.
In
War,
fact, they are exactly the same against any group they consider as not Palestinian.
right. Warrant issued against a Lebanese journalist who dared to interview an IDF spokesman. A military prosecutor in Lebanon has issued a warrant against a Lebanese journalist, Lalal Alec Qatar, after she conducted an interview with an IDF spokesman for Arabic media. All right. Akhtar wrote on X, formerly Twitter, that people affiliated with Hezbollah under disguised names had filed a complaint against her after the interview. The step is blatant political persecution because that's what they do. This is the Arab mindset. You don't agree with us for whatever reason. If you go outside the orthodoxy for whatever reason, you will be exterminated.
Yep.
No. We'll get to the Mr. Barkley. We'll get to this stuff. Don't worry. We'll get to this stuff. But you have to understand. So cultures were not permitted to change or grow divorce. I'll let you continue with your typing there, Batman. Matt,
no.
here's the reason why you've got to worry about this. Fairfax County Public Schools suspends student for allegedly blowing the whistle on the swastika flag. Last week, Jewish students at Langley High School were stunned to see an image of the U.S. flag that a classmate had drawn in room 1406 during a meeting of the Muslim Students Association, replacing the stars of the flags with swastikas and the message Free Palestine between the squiggles for stripes. The image circulated quickly at school as pro-Palestinian staged a walkout on Friday, carrying other signs with swastikas and chanting, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," a call to action that Jewish groups have decried as anti-Semitic war cry to destroy the state of Israel, which it is a war cry to destroy the state of Israel.
Not just the state of Israel, but all the Jews living there.
Now, Jewish students and parents are shocked to learn that the Langley administrators this week suspended not only the Muslim student who drew the swastika on the U.S. flag, but also an Asian American classmate whom school officials accused of leaking the photo to the public. This is why, Mr. Barkley, you've got to start paying attention to what this shit is all about. And I'm not accusing you of not paying attention to this. Please, I said that, and it's not what I'm not really directing this at Mr. Barkley because he is aware of it, and I know he's aware of it. Okay, the problem is that you have to go into this for people to start to realize there are direct connections to what are happening in our school systems and what's happening around this country, and it's been fostered by these freaking leftist freaking loons. The Bible is covenant theology. The churches don't teach that. They teach bollocks. This is not a religious discussion. At least it was not my intent to create one. But if you want to go on with that, I'm not going to deny it. Truth doesn't change. No, the truth doesn't change.
No, but things do change. Christ, cultures change. They're still real.
And
Christianity has fucking changed radically since its inception.
Christianity is a blood religion. No, Christianity is not a blood religion. Unless you want to talk about the blood of Christ, that's a separate issue.
Right. Oh yes, the ritualized the ritualized cannibalism.
For I am Yahweh, I change not, therefore the sons of Jacob are not consumed. Now we're going to get into biblical quotes. Look at what's happened here.
I know.
Look what you've dragged me into. I blame you.
I blame you. They're your audience, not mine.
They're our audience. You're part of the show. Let's get on to an entirely different story.
No,
SpaceX
I'm an
star
intrusion.
SpaceX Starship test flight fails minutes after launch on a second attempt. SpaceX's uncrewed spacecraft Starship, de- developed to carry astronauts to the moon and beyond, was presumed to have failed in space minutes after lifting off on Saturday. In a second test after its first attempt to reach space ended in an explosion. This one ended in two. The two-stage rocket ship blasted off from Elon Musk's own company's Starbase launch site near Boca Chica, Texas, soaring roughly 55 miles above ground on a planned 90-minute flight into space. But the rockets,
Yeah, like I said, obviously, where the people from Elon's home world don't want him getting back.
yeah, but the rockets super heavy first stage booster, though it appeared to achieve a crucial maneuver to separate from the core stage, exploded over the Gulf of Mexico shortly after detaching. Meanwhile, the core Starship booster carried further toward space, but roughly 10 minutes into the flight, a company broadcaster said that SpaceX mission control suddenly lost contact with the vehicle. We have lost the data from the second stage. We think we may have lost the second stage. The launch was the second attempt to fly Starship mounted atop its towering Super Heavy rocket booster following an April attempt that ended in failure for about 4 minutes after liftoff. Okay, um, let's talk about this just in a different manner. Why did I bring this up? Because it's brand new news, number one. But also, it's a great attempt by a private company to do this. However, Musk's attempting to do something that the Russians learned was a mistake. And that is when you cram too many
Solar power.
motors, no, when you cram too many motors, too many rocket motors, all right,
Oh
to, to,
God, yeah.
to take off. And
The,
there
the
are
Vostok rockets.
yes, the the Russians
Yeah,
had
too many motors, too
clusters.
much heat.
The Russians had a cluster of 20. Okay, and they're on their N1 rocket, and its failure rate was unacceptably high. Okay, the same problem Elon Musk is now witnessing. That Heavy uses 30 Raptor motors in a cluster,
Yeah, uh,
and they're
too many
having
motors,
problems.
too many motors
Right.
create too much heat, and that's the problem that the Russians couldn't solve. And they bent their best minds to that, and they had some fucking good minds to bend to it.
Yes, they did. Well, they had a number of different. I mean, they had almost the entire. They had the almost entire German rocket program. They had captured all those Nazis, right? And the only one that they didn't get was von Braun. Really, the one major
Yep.
one that they didn't get was von Braun. They had all the rest of them. Okay, so the idea of the Heavy and it working and everything. I watched the launch. I saw what happened. Um, I was going to be pleasantly surprised if it worked. All right, but it failed as I expected. Now, the failure of the booster stage, all right, is interesting because they said everything was going nominally on that. All right, and then all of a sudden you get this notice. Okay, we lost all of our tracking. We lost control. Right now, solid fuel solved it at JPL and JPL. Solid fuel has its own problems. Okay.
Yeah. I
This
mean, just like I just said to Lou there, even the successful United States rockets were pretty damned unstable.
the most
I mean,
stable.
there's a couple of times the Saturn V exploded on the launch pad, if you remember.
No, not the Saturn V. We did have some
Yeah, I'm pretty
explosions on
sure it
Saturn.
was.
No, Saturn V's never exploded on
It
the
was
pad.
one of the Apollo crews. They never got into space because the rocket basically
No,
blew apart,
no,
I believe.
no,
Or
no. They had a fire in the capsule in the capsule
my
at the
mistake.
top,
Yeah,
and the crew burned alive. It was horrific. It was absolutely horrific, and that happened
but
because
then
they were
again,
using 100%
then
oxygen.
again, then again, a rocket. If you had a 100% stable rocket, it wouldn't go anywhere because there would be no reaction.
That is very
Energy
true.
is produced by an instability.
Yeah, it was very true. Right. The solid state. The problem with the solid state boosters are the fact that once you start them, you can't stop
Yeah,
them. This has always been the problem. You can't turn them on and off, which is why people want to use liquid. Okay.
and the thing is, even if you've got a well-designed rocket, the slightest defect that gets past quality control means you're sitting on a bomb. You've got to be ridiculously careful constructing a rocket. They can't. He's blowing his nose, by the way. It's either that or he's having sex with an elephant.
No, I was blowing my nose. Thank you. I appreciate the quote unquote
Mm.
blow by blow assessment from a fat man to give to the audience.
Yeah, well, you think I'm going to spare you embarrassment?
I have I
And
never made that assumption.
talking, talking about rockets, it sounds like somebody's got their hands on some fireworks outside.
Huh? Maybe
Yeah.
racketry.
That's probably somebody who couldn't celebrate November the 5th.
In more news from Elon Musk, a giant fusion reactor in the sky. Elon Musk told Joe Rogan that you can power the entire United States with 100 miles by 100 miles of solar, and it's not hard. 3 stocks to bet on that sunny outlook. Really? Okay. Due to the complex
That's the
interplay
thing.
between environmental concerns and economic interests and geopolitical dynamics, energy is a highly contentious topic. But according to Tesla CEO Elon Musk, there's a great energy source that can fulfill our needs right above us, the sun. You could
On,
actually power
on
the
the
entire.
surface of the planet, solar power is too unreliable.
You could actually power the entire United States with 100 miles by 100 miles of solar, Elon Musk said during a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience
No,
podcast.
hold on a minute. If you can figure out a way to transmit electricity to ground stations on Earth, right,
Mm-hmm.
without a significant loss of energy, you could orbit solar powered, solar collectors that could convert sunlight into electricity and transmit it down to the Earth. But we don't have that technology yet.
Yeah. Host Joe Rogan was intrigued by the idea, asking, "Really? So you can just pick some dead spot, cover that sucker up with solar panels, and charge the country?" Absolutely, Musk responded. We need batteries, but yes. And there's the rub. You need batteries. Because you
Yeah,
have to
how do you get the
store the
batteries up? How do you get the
energy.
batteries down?
Well, the batteries got to go somewhere, right? They don't
Yeah.
just float in the air. And what's more he said 100 by 100 miles by 100 miles, right, which is 10,000 square miles, covered in solar panels would power the United States. Okay, all right.
I like Matt's idea. I mean, the technology for nuclear power plants has come a shit long way since the early days.
Yes, that's
Western nuclear power technology is a lot safer than it ever was, and it's actually the safest and cleanest form of energy we have available to us, and
yes,
it's renewable.
yes, it is. Well, sort of renewable, but yeah.
And Lou's not wrong there with his yeah with with his laser.
Um, the 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 problem there's a problem with that. Okay, and that is salt. Okay, for those who don't
And that is what?
understand, salt.
Hmm.
Okay, what is a salt? Do you know what a salt is?
I think when he says salt, he means what most people mean when they say salt. He means sodium chloride.
Well, even if you're not talking sodium chloride, if you're talking another type of salt, do you understand what it is? All right, for people who don't understand, it's an arrangement of molecules, all right, that are only associated via ions. Okay, I want you to
Yeah,
understand this. So when you talk about salt water, okay, the salt in the water, you have sodium ions and you have chloride ions that hang around one another, but they're ions. Okay,
they're
and
loosely associated.
right, and as a result of them being ions, they will attach to other things very readily because they're looking to form a molecular bond,
Yeah,
not an ionic bond. Okay,
yeah.
and
Nimble
so
horse, metal salts are still salts.
yes, metal salts are still salts, so they are ionic bonds, and the result is that they tend to corrode all sorts of stuff, and we've never
Yeah,
gotten
this
past
is
that.
why this is why sodium chloride's always attracting water to it.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's also one of the problems where we do have salt that we did create what's known as a low pressure salt reactor. Okay, and the Department of
It
Energy
create yeah, but that created lefty.
has tested these things, and you can get them to work, but the problems are that accompany them become intractable. Okay, they are just and it has to do with the fact that they're so corrosive. All right, especially when you heat them up to the temperatures that you're talking about. I mean, sodium chloride melts at a very high temperature. Okay, so you can't just keep it in like a glass tube. It doesn't work that well. Okay, because of how it heats up the glass. All right, even you got to understand that about how the salt reactors work. I would love for us to come back and have a solution for that, but we would need to be able to create a plastic, all right, or a plastic-like substance, okay, that tends to remain inert at relatively high temperatures, right? And we're nowhere near that yet, unfortunately. But nuclear
What
power
the see?
is the way
What?
to do it.
Yeah. Preferably fusion if they can never get around to working that out.
We're decades away from fusion, folks. For those
Yeah,
who don't
we're even
know,
further away.
the fusion the problems with fusion are multiple. Okay, we can get a fusion reaction. We can't sustain it and control it though. All right, and what's more is we
Yep.
can't get the energy out easily. All right, into a form where we can convert it into electricity. This has been
Yeah, because we're
go ahead.
for all our technology, we're still relying on basic physics to basic mechanics rather to provide us with electricity. I mean, nuclear power. How does that create electricity? It heats up turbines which spin,
Yeah, no,
which create electricity.
it heats up water, turns it into steam, and then you have steam turbines that spin. That's true.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
it would be nice if we had a better solution than that because of the high pressure. High pressure steam is always
yep.
can always leak, and when it does, you know, back in the days when we had steam engines in ships, people would lose limbs and they'd end up dead sometimes because there was a steam leak in one of the tubes. The guy would walk by and his arm would be cut off, right? Because the pressure
Hmm.
was that high coming out of the thing, right? So
Funny thing is, we had a lot less of those problems in the UK than in Europe or in the US.
That's probably true. Yeah. Because we tend to want to build things as quickly as possible. That's what the US
Yeah,
does.
and let's face it, in Europe they're not very good at building
You,
things.
you also were the ones who basically, let's for all intents and purposes, although we created and did a lot of things with steam, and we did invent the steam engine. The reality is that it was
No, you
perfected
did
in Britain.
not.
Fulton,
Uh,
Robert Fulton demonstrated
actually,
the first workable steam engine. All right, for transportation. I'm not talking about the actual concept of the steam engine, because if you go back to the actual concept of the steam engine, right? If you really want to go back, you can go all the way back to you know BC
Herodotus.
times, and some of the engines that they had back then.
Herodotus.
Yeah. So, I mean, they had steam engines already outlined in
Uh,
the Library of Alexandria before they ever burned it to the ground. Just pointing it out to
you, you've got at least four people contending for who invented the steam engine. Uh, there's Edward Somerset,
you. Mm-hmm.
the second Marquis of Worcester, and yeah, he died in 1667. You've got James Watt, died in 1819. You've got a few.
I know.
And the guy you're on about, Thomas Newcomb.
Robert Fulton.
Ah,
A
he's not
little bit
even
different.
mentioned here.
Robert Fulton.
He's not even mentioned.
I know,
He's not even mentioned here.
but Robert Fulton is the one who set up there and actually practically was the one who created
Did he
the
invent it, or did he, or did he get the
he got it to work for
did he get
transportation.
did he get the credit because he created a patent in America?
Well,
So American
that's a
history books will.
possibility. That's a possibility. I won't deny that.
I mean, it's like the telephone. The telephone was invented. Yeah, actual working telephones, very similar to the type we use today, were invented by quite a few different inventors in roughly around about the same time. It's the first person to the patent office that got the credit, which was a Scottish guy, Alexander Graham Bell.
He was an American. We claim
He was Scottish.
him. Anyway, let's get on to the next story. Climate activists, thanks for sending these idiots over to us. All right, climate activists smear red paint on Washington, D.C., the D.C. Civil War exhibit honoring black soldiers. A climate activist with the far left advocacy group smeared red paint on an exhibit honoring an African American regiment that fought during the Civil War during a protest in the National Gallery of Art on Tuesday. The member of Declare Emergency, a group that calls for an immediate end to fossil fuel production and reliance, vandalized a wall in the West Building Gallery of Washington, D.C. Museum
They should be fucking just marched straight to a prison.
that houses the Shaw's 54th Regiment Memorial. All right, for those who don't know, the movie Glory was loosely based on the 54th. Okay,
Yeah,
it was an
Matthew
all
Broderick.
black. It was an all black unit. It charged a heavily fortified position. Okay, and it got massacred. All right,
Yeah,
but
that's because the Rebs tricked them by frying chicken.
that is not what.
No, no, no. In
Oh
all,
my
in all
god.
seriousness, they died bravely. They were practically thrown away, weren't they?
They were, because one of the problems during that entire war was coordination of the battle. The idea
Mm-hmm.
was that the 54th would take the brunt of this attack on to at the same while a simultaneous attack was taking place somewhere else, right? And it was the other attack that was supposed to carry the day. Okay, and then they wouldn't be under attack for the entire time. That attack never went forward. All right, that portion of the attack never went forward. So the 54th basically charged into a ravine area, and they basically just shot and rolled grenades, right,
Hmm.
down onto the troops and so forth. And there, it was one of the most horrific battles at that point in I believe it was in the Carolinas. I don't know whether it was North or South. I want to say South Carolina, where they were trying to get to Charlotte at the time, but I'm not exactly sure. It's molten doesn't hold magnetic fields, but an electrical field exists. Someone is wrong. Okay. If there's an electrical field, there's a magnetic field. All right, just so you understand that.
Hold on a minute. They're on about the core of the Earth, right? But the actual core, the actual center of the Earth, is a ball of solid iron. It's solid because of the ridiculous amount of pressure that is exerted upon it.
Well, those are
And hold,
those are
hold, hold on, hold on,
those are
hold
the
on,
theories.
hold
I
on,
just want
Nomad.
you to understand that that's a theory.
But those pressures, uh, our knowledge of physics is kind of breaks down because matter behaves differently at those pressures. So the liquid metal ion surrounding the solid ball doesn't behave like liquid or molten metal does on the surface because of that pressure. It's changed. I mean, you get ice uh, deeper in the Earth's surface, yeah, towards the core, and it's not because it's cold. It's because of the pressure. Ice 8 and ice 13, stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
which are formed because of pressure. Pressure has weight. Yeah, enough pressure makes matter behave weirdly.
Yes, it does. And the other aspect of it is there's a lot of theorists, right, that assume
Yep.
that what's happening at the core, in the Earth has a lot to do with the very heavy radioactive
Yep.
elements, right? But the
Excuse me
problem
a
is
second.
that we can't
Uh,
prove any of
no, Sean, the Earth is not hollow. That's Joe Biden's head.
that. This is not at the Earth's core. Edgar Rice Burroughs was not the one who's correct about this. Although the
Hey,
theory
there's the
the theory
thing.
about that's a little bit different.
Even that film at the Earth's core, they didn't actually get the Earth's core because it was explained that peculiar or whatever it's called was
Pluto.
actually it was a vast bubble somewhere in the mantle.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's a good point. That is a good point. Okay, but these Civil War act or these climate activists rather, they do need to be shot. They need to be taken out, and they need to be, you know, gotten rid of. Okay, if we got to expel them and send them to China for them to realize what this is, so be it. Okay, that's I'm serious. Or send them to Canada. Better yet, send them to Canada.
No, no,
Kick them
no,
out
no.
of the
What you
country.
do, send them to Pennsylvania and have the Amish make fun of them.
uh, off to Memphis. Memphis police chief claims crime is so bad, not even the army can stop it.
Yeah, I doubt that's true. Because you bring the army in, they issue martial law. If you're caught stealing or breaking the law, you just get shot out of hand.
Well, that's what you would hope anyway. Crime is so out of control in Memphis that police chief C.J. Davis doesn't think the army can save the day. Outkick readers know the situation in Memphis is far past bad. It's downright appalling, a stain on the entire country that criminals seem to run roughshod in an major American city. Below are some recent examples of the carnage and chaos. Doctor gunned down in front of his family. Eliza Fletcher brutally murdered. Brawls at a Top Golf, which is basically a golf area. All right. Gunman killed 4 people, had been cut loose early from prison. Or an interview derailed by a drive-by shooting. 9-year-old shot. Okay. what do we know? What do we know about Memphis? All right. To quote Mayor Nagin,
If you're, I know what we know about Memphis. If you walk in Memphis, you might see Elvis walk through the gates of Graceland.
yeah. To quote Mayor
Cher did a bad cover version of it.
Mayor Nagin from New Orleans, Memphis is a quote unquote chocolate city. Now,
Well, does
chocolate.
that mean it melts? Does that mean it melts in your hand?
No, it's run completely by Marxist leftist African Americans, right?
Hmm.
Or Americans of African descent, and I mean completely, 100, almost 100% total, right? This was also the place where they were all talking about how they killed that guy. The police killed that guy, right? And they charged him with
Uh-huh.
murder for beating that guy to death. Well, that guy was black, right? So were all the police.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Apparently, from what I've read and what I've heard, the cops who are the most racist to the black community are black cops.
well, yeah, I wonder why. Because they're being treated. It's not racist. They're people that they might be the harshest, right? But it's not. It's
You
not a
can actually,
racist.
you can.
It's not a racist problem. It's not a racial problem. The problem is it's got a Marxism problem. And if you want to keep pushing Marxism, this is going to be the result.
Yeah.
Just like
Listen,
this.
listen to me arguing with you. Oh wait, you can't because I'm not.
It's better that I leave. Illegal aliens disgruntled by Sanctuary City are heading back home.
Oh, they're going back to Mars, are they?
A number of illegal immigrants from Venezuela, among other places, are returning home from Chicago due to their disillusionment surrounding the promised benefits and opportunities in the United States. So, in other words, they weren't refugees, were they?
Nope.
Okay, so these
No,
people,
they were, they were illegal economic migrants, same as we're getting over here.
the migrants expected free schooling for their daughter and easy access to work and legal status, but instead found themselves living in temporary shelters and struggling to find long-term employment without legal permits.
Without illegal permits? You mean without legal permits?
Yes, really. So, in other words, the whole reason that they were being allowed into the country was supposedly they were refugees and that they were being put upon by the countries that they were quote unquote fleeing from. And then you come to find out that when they can't find a job, they go back home. I guess they really didn't care about that. I guess they weren't coming here, all right, to flee oppression. And this has been the problem. They could have been stopped at the border. And they should have been stopped at the border. Right? Instead, you get these leftist loony mayors like this jackass, right? New York City Mayor Adams reveals budget cuts will slash 4,000 police jobs over the next 2 years. In a city where crime is skyrocketing, his solution: cut the police force by 10%. Okay? I want you to understand this. New York City Mayor Eric Adams detailed immediate budget cuts due to the immigration crisis, all right, on Thursday, which includes reducing the number of officers from 33,000 to 29,000 in the next 2 years. In other words, you're cutting 5% and 5% of the number of officers, all right, for the police force. The next 5 police academy classes will be canceled, meaning that the police department will see staffing below 30,000 for the first time since the 1980s. You know, when crime was completely out of control.
Yeah.
New York leaders have warned that significant budget cuts would upend the living standards in the
Oh,
city, and without additional federal aid, you get no federal aid. F you.
have you
You
have you
want
ever?
aid from people, Mr. Adams? You all you New Yorkers over there in New York City. You want aid? Go run right on down to your favorite freaking leftist loons like Jon Stewart, Mister. Oh, I care so much about the state, and get it from him.
Hold
F
on, he's
you.
a Green Lantern.
Not that Jon Stewart. You know what I'm talking about.
You ever seen the video I saw on YouTube last year? Got this guy. He's in New York. Yeah, do, doing the man on the street thing, and he's in the well-to-do areas of New York, asking, yeah, should the police be defunded? And people are going, yeah, why they're racist? Yeah, you should get rid of the police. Yeah, you don't need the police. Yeah, black people are nice. Yeah, the crime's only caused by the police and all this shit. Then he goes to places like Harlem and like low-income areas. He's asking the same question, and just about everybody turns around and goes, are you crazy? You get rid of the police, this place will become a hellhole.
They voted for it.
Those who are in a safe neighborhood don't realize how much they need the police.
Sean's right. You want aid? Start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
and because Eric Adams went off the reservation and started bitching about immigration and how the feds had to take care of all this stuff and then they need to do something about it, what was the result? Is this. Eric Adams' junior staffer, who acted improperly, is placed on leave. In other words, they started an investigation on this son of a bitch. All right? The junior staffer inside
that's
of
the
the
guy
mayor's office. Go ahead.
That's the guy who doesn't know how to open doors.
Yeah, all right. Who acted improperly has been identified in the FBI's corruption probe into Eric Adams' campaign. Rana Abasova, all right, director for protocol for international affairs, and listed on a $80,000 salary, has been named by sources in the New York Post as the individual had recently acted improperly following an internal investigation. In other words, the quote-unquote paramour. Other people have stated this more than I have. I have no idea what his personal proclivities are, romantic proclivities are. All right, have stated that this woman, all right, they're throwing her under the bus. But see, the problem is
Yep.
that Adams, this probe all began because somebody was sitting there saying, we've got to get a handle on this immigration stuff. We've got to stop the influx of these migrants into the country. And he was on his way to D.C. when this person got raided, when they raided her. And then when he got there, as he was walking down the street, the FBI said, give us your phones, give us all your freaking technology. All right. Eric Adams went off the reservation. He is now trying to get back onto the reservation by saying, okay, we'll cut everything else. We'll just keep immigration coming.
Yeah. Matt's going on about governor of New York spying on social media.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's face it. The United States started to turn into a dictator. I mean, it hasn't completely yet, but it started turning into a dictatorship when they created the department. What was it? Homeland Security.
Yeah, when they never should have created the Department of Homeland Security. That's very
true. That's basically the Gestapo. Seriously.
How many people remembered the Army kicking out a bunch of soldiers who refused to get the shot? Well, now, fast forward a couple of years. Amid recruiting woes, Army sent letters to soldiers separated for vaccine refusal. Soldiers who were forced out of the Army for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine have received letters with instruction on how to rejoin as the service faces its toughest recruiting environment in a generation. As a result of the rescission of all current COVID-19 vaccine requirements, former soldiers who were involuntarily separated for their refusal to receive the COVID-19 vaccination may request a correction of their military records.
I wonder how many are going to tell the Army to fuck off.
Almost all of them, I'll bet. It also instructs soldiers looking to return to service to contact the Army Reserve, or National Guard recruiter. It was not immediately clear to an Army spokesman if soldiers who rejoined would return to their former unit or their MOS.
You know what's pissing me off about the Western military at the moment, not just the American military, but in general, is the spectre of World War III is looming again, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there'll ever be World War III, but you're getting people in military service who are panicking because they might actually have to fight.
Oh yeah.
And my mind, if you're not prepared to, if you don't want to go into combat, if you're not prepared for that, you have no right to be in the military.
Yeah, that's very true.
But more than I'd say more than half of the people who are now serving in the military aren't prepared to fight. They shouldn't be there.
Listen to this. The Army has turned to offering sign-on benefits like bonuses and soldiers' choice of first duty station. They also upped their advertisement spending to reach various demographics. Uh, really, to reach various demographics. So, in other words, the LGBTQ community that you targeted hasn't filled the gap.
Well, they did, but as soon as they got the surgery, they left.
If they do, they should
It's,
demand a rank
it's,
up,
it's
the
just as
firing of
bad.
the military person in charge of their branch, right? Double back pay and a raise.
It's just as bad as these people who join the military, you know, to get a free scholarship, and then when they've earned the degrees in whatever they wanted, they leave.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true.
I mean, I think if you sign up on that deal,
See, I
you should
told you I
sign up
get.
for however long. You should sign up for however long your degree is going to take, right? And then after that, you've got to serve 4 years.
They want straight white men again suddenly. uh, let's get to the next story here. See, I just wanted to point out Mr. Barkley. See, I told you I'd get to U.S. news, right? It was just I wanted to talk about the other stuff because I've been gone for quite a while. I had to rant for a little bit. Starbucks workers strike on Red Cup Day. I didn't even know there was a thing called Red Cup Day. Okay. Organizers at more than 200 U.S. Starbucks locations walked off the job Thursday in what organizers said was the largest strike yet to 200 Starbucks. All right. In the two-year-old effort to unionize the company stores, the Workers United Union chose Starbucks' annual Red Cup Day to stage a walkout, since it's usually one of the busiest days of the year. Really? Starbucks expects to give away thousands of reusable cups Thursday to customers who ordered their holiday drinks. The union said it was expecting more than 5,000 workers, all right, to take part in the Red Cup Rebellion. All right, workers are expected to picket for part of the day and visit non-union stores the rest of the day. The union said around 30 stores were targeted. 5,000 workers for 30
Oh dear,
stores?
what a pity!
That,
Oh
that, that
dear, what a pity! I don't care.
now, but I'm going to do a little math here, right? You have 30
Lou's saying
stores.
America is now
America's a collection of
uh,
individuals.
Lou, yeah,
It, it,
it's not. It's turning into a hive mind, a leftist hive mind.
to some degree, yes. Right. Juniper Schweitzer, who worked at Starbucks for 16 years, says she loves the company and its ideals, but believes it's not living up to them. Right. They have promised the world to us, and they have not delivered. Why are you still working for a company making coffee for 16 years? I could understand if you were, you know, in the purchasing department or something like that. But as a barista, you've been working in a store and you're not part of management for 16 years. Really? Am I missing
Mm.
something? And you're only making a cup of coffee. Okay, let me tell you why when unions work, when they should work, and how these things all go about. First of all, there's something called unskilled labor. Making coffee
Yep,
is unskilled labor. They can fire you
yep.
and replace you overnight.
They could actually train a chimpanzee to do your job.
Yes. Okay. So
In
anybody who
fact,
want
the way the way technology's going,
and
they
it,
could get a machine to do your job.
they're going to do it. These people don't even realize it. What they were is jealous because they saw the UAW strike, the United Auto Workers strike, succeed where they got these big pay raises, right? And what they're going to find out is a lot of them are going to be out of work. Why? Because
Hmm.
they just sit up there and made it impossible for them to have jobs, right, and that company to be profitable. And those companies are going to shift production somewhere else. They're not being
Well, of
given a
course they are.
choice. And so the result is that all these people in a couple of years in the UAW that went on strike are all going to be looking around at their union representative who's living high on the hog and drives around in limousines, right? Rides around. I shouldn't say drive because they don't drive it, right? They ride around in limousines, and they're going to be like, "What the hell happened to us again? Did you not learn anything from the 1980s? Did you, the United Auto Workers?" I looked at that whole thing and I said, "Did you idiots not learn anything from the 1980s?" Apparently not, because all their production now is going to go back overseas again, and we got these promises from the companies
Like,
that we won't do it. Doesn't matter what the companies
here's
promise.
something. Here's something I've heard. I forget who said it, but individuals have long memories. Groups have short memories.
Yes, yeah, that's very true. They promised the world to you. What do you get? What did you get, San Francisco? They haven't even given it to you. But
They haven't even washed the
these
whole
guys
streets.
are even worse because it's all unskilled labor, and Starbucks is going to
Yep.
go the way of the dodo. It is. I'm telling you now, Starbucks. If because it's a leftist organization and they want to be true to these people, they do. Okay, they're gonna price themselves
You
completely
can't be
out.
true to these people because you can't be true to these people because they change the goalposts every 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah, but they're what I mean by that is they themselves are leftists. They're trying to live up to the leftist ideology. They really are.
You can't
I know. I know.
because the other leftists shift the target on you.
I don't disagree. There's also something called real world.
Yep.
OpenAI shocks the tech world with the firing of ChatGPT CEO Sam Altman.
Oh dear, what a beat! I don't care.
Altman became the tech world sensation with the release nearly a year ago of ChatGPT, an AI chatbot with
GPT,
what
PT, not
G,
BT, PT.
GPT. Okay. A chatbot with unprecedented capabilities, churning out human level content like poems and artwork in just seconds. Human level, huh? I don't think it did that.
Yeah,
His, his,
no, it
dismiss,
didn't.
his dismissal caught the tech world by surprise, with rumors rife on social media as to the cause of the sudden sacking. A statement of
I'll tell you why he was suddenly sacked. They found out he actually doesn't exist. It's just an image on a screen. A voice on his speakers and a script delivered by an AI.
it sounded as though there were some ethical concerns that pushed the board to do something, right? If he is being ousted because of ethical concerns, that is only going to be good for the company. No, it's not necessarily because it depends on what kind of ethics you're actually talking about. And if you're talking about leftist ethics, you like he demanded, hey, we need to become profitable, and they said no. It's not going to be good for the company. Just put it down there. Just putting it out there, right? Now, have you ever used ChatGPT or GPT? Excuse me.
No,
I have.
no.
I decided to explore it and take a look
Well, apparently your page is unresponsive.
at it. That this page is unresponsive. But
There we go.
we'll just get rid of
Uh,
it. So
if I want to do something creative, I have this organ inside my head called a brain.
yes, and I've playing with it. Okay, there are certain things it does well. Okay, it does ash and trash commentary. Okay, it does. Okay,
Hmm.
from that perspective, it's really good. But you have to direct it. Okay,
Yeah.
and you got to be directing it real time. You can't just let it go on its own. You can't just say, give me X, Y, Z and have it give you something worthwhile, because it won't. You've got to be
The whole.
interrogating
Yeah.
it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to get what you want. Okay? You have to tell it the basics of what you're trying to do, and let it do the ash and trash work. Okay? But then you have to go in and modify the ash and trash to fit with what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to write a poem, for example, it can come up and give a whole list of rhyming words and things like that work really well within a sentence structure. But you look at it and go, this is just meaningless. Let me add a few things, and eventually you'll get something that you want, because it lets you utilize your creativity that much more by giving you certain hints and certain things, right? If you end up getting stuck, but otherwise it's useless. It really is useless. Conceptually, it doesn't do things conceptually. All right. Anything you attempt to have it try and create a concept on, you'll find all it does is regurgitate somebody else's concept, and a poor job of that regurgitation generally.
Mm-hmm. The
Okay.
time to start worrying is when an AI software suite can produce creative content by itself.
Yes. When it starts doing things completely on its own, is when you got to worry.
Yeah. It's when you come in and you ask your computer what it's doing and it responds with nothing.
Nothing, Dave.
Open the Part B doors, Shirati.
All right, on to the next story. By all means, quit. The Daily Wire's biggest stars are fighting. Disagreements over our Israel Hamas war have boiled over into a public feud between the Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. The Daily Wire has descended into unrestrained chaos as an ongoing spat between its founder, Ben Shapiro,
Fight,
and one of the right wing
fight,
outlet's biggest
fight,
names,
fight,
Candace Owens.
fight,
The pair's
fight.
disagreement over the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas had now spilled into a public fight on social media. The clash between Shapiro and Owens has been brewing for weeks now. Shapiro, who is Jewish, has been a prominent supporter of Israel's siege on Gaza in retaliation for the October 7th terrorist Hamas militants, attack by Hamas militants. Owens, by contrast, has recently begun to criticize Israel for what many consider a disproportionate response that has largely targeted Palestinian civilians trapped within the Gaza Strip. That's a lie, okay, because it's not targeting the civilians trapped in it, but although it should. If they were doing it right, they should. All right, now,
They've actually been offering
what's your
humanitarian aid as well.
it's a lie. All right. What's your opinion of this supposed?
Uh, I think Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro should have kept their personal opinions to themselves over this and remained professional. That's what I think.
By the way, in the chat, I've been speaking for a while now, and I should have asked this earlier. I'm on a different microphone right now. Let me know how it sounds. If it sounds good, bad, too low, too high, whatever. With the exception of the rant, I know I sounded loud on the rant. Right?
We
Really,
both sound loud.
you think that it was unprofessional to take this shot?
I think it was very unprofessional of them. If they want to have that spat, they should do it in basically take it to DMs. I don't want to see their fucking dirty laundry.
What if it's staged?
Or might be, but either way, I think my advice to them would be get a fucking room.
I think this whole thing is staged, folks. I'm not gonna. I don't have proof for this, but this to me sounds as if Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens needed to bring
It wouldn't be the first time.
the Daily Mail into the spotlight to get more. Your sound is a little low. Thanks, Mr. Work.
Yeah, well, you see when he says
views.
he's got a new microphone.
I do.
What it actually is he's got a window open and he's using a loud hailer.
It's not quite like that. All right. Let me see.
Okay, he's just got a window open.
No, that doesn't help either. Put this little filter thing back on. bring more attention to the Daily Mail.
You mean the Daily Wire?
Daily Wire, yeah. I'm sorry, Daily Wire. I think that's all. I think that's exactly what this is. I think it has everything to do with the fact that they're trying to.
No man is low until he yells and his window rattling loud.
Are you trying to say that I'm a wallflower until I yell? Is that what you're trying to say? Let me see if I can fix this. Okay.
So this means now it's going to be window rattling loud until he yells, and yeah, all life forms within his vicinity will be killed.
It won't be that bad. God.
Used to be.
I think that you're just. I think you're just being
Understating it.
No, I don't think you're understating. I think you're
being accurate. Yes, I know.
I don't think you're being accurate per se. You know, let's see if this works a little better.
Whoa, Christ!
Is this a little better?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I can hear that in the middle of my head.
Oh, sorry about that. All right, let me try and back this back down again. And we'll put this back up here. How's this? This much? Oh, wow, that's way better. It's way too loud. Way too loud. This is where we should be.
Yep.
We'll be right about here. Okay. The problem that I see as I see this, right, with the Daily Wire is everyone was ignoring them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When this Israeli-Hamas thing kicked off and everyone was talking, there were all sorts of commentary, but you didn't hear the kind of notoriety that you would be expecting from Ben Shapiro. He wasn't in the news. He wasn't in the news cycle. All right, and he desperately wanted to be. Okay, this is why I believe that this whole thing may be staged. It's the same. It's the same thing. All right, when you find out all the new information for what's it, Will Smith and the Chris Rock supposed kerfuffle where he supposedly slapped Chris Rock because of what he said about the Jada Pinkett Smith, and now you find out the whole time that Jada Pinkett Smith and him were basically
over,
separated. They'd already separated.
I hate to do this here, Nomad, but I've got to go.
You got to go. Okay.
Various reasons.
No problem. I appreciate you coming out, Batman.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting us on. You have a good one and
enjoy.
Yeah, the rest you can sod off. See you later. And
all right. Now all of you poor people have only me to deal with. So I apologize for that. Not to apologize, because I like Batman being on. It gives somebody to banter with. But the reality is, I honestly think that this is a tempest in a teapot that was created strictly by him, only to him and her, all right, to put their names in the news. Black Lives Matter was over. Okay, everyone agrees with him now. So how do you reignite the controversy and everything? Now, I'm not a huge fan of Ben Shapiro's, and I'm really not a huge fan of Candace Owens. I will say that Candace Owens has improved her outlook. Okay, that doesn't mean that I trust Candace Owens any further than I could throw a freaking 10-ton brick. But this whole thing where everyone's talking, oh, look at the infighting, to be honest, it's brought a lot of attention to the Daily Wire. And there are people that just want to glom onto this. I think, to be honest, from their perspective, it's a win-win situation. I really do. Okay, time to talk about some schools. More than 100 Harvard professors. Notice the word. I use that word loosely. Harvard. All right, professors. Slam university president for bowing to pressure and condemning anti-Semitism. Okay. More than 100 Harvard professors have sent a letter to the university president Claudine Gay, condemning her for issuing a statement opposing anti-Semitism on campus, claiming she was bowing to the interests of the wealthy donors and alumni and was infringing upon the free speech of students. Really? So making racist comments is okay as long as you're just swearing at Jews? Is that these Harvard professors? As Harvard faculty, we have been astonished by the pressure from donors, alumni, and even some on this campus to silence faculty, students, and staff critical of the actions of the State of Israel, the open letter reads. Oh, but anybody talking about Hillary, all right, and claiming Trump was MAGA for Trump, you had no problem silencing, did you? Where was this open letter, all right, when they were going after those guys, when they were going after quote unquote MAGA? Where was it? You see, these people are anti-Semites, and they've been anti-Semites for a long freaking time. And this woman just gave a milquetoast response to, we can't have bigotry on the campus. Okay, but she took no action against anybody, hasn't done anything. And these Harvard professors all want to do it? Do you want to know why academia is bad? Why they're freaking out of control? As Harvard professors, you should all be fired for hate speech. It's led to a whole lot of degeneracy across the board. Then there was this story, which came to me via Twitter, to be honest. Idaho teacher arrested for rape of teen cops found driving her car because she was too drunk, all right, to drive. Now, if you read it like that, and that's how it's written, you misunderstand what this was about. But we'll get to it, shall we? A 36-year-old teacher in Idaho has been busted for allegedly having sex with a teen by cops who found the boy behind the wheel of her car because she was too drunk to drive. Jessica Lawson is facing felony rape charges after an officer from the St. Anthony Police Department pulled over her vehicle to no visible taillights in the morning of October 6th, only to find a teen boy in the driver's seat of the car. Lawson, who taught at the South Fremont High School from August 2021 through August 2023, or June of 2023, was not in the car at the time, and the teen told the police that she let him drive due to her being too drunk to drive, the outlet continued, citing court documents. The adolescent also admitted to having used marijuana before being driven home by the officer. According to the boy, Lawson got drunk and he got high before they eventually had sex. Lawson eventually called the teen's mother and admitted to picking him up, taking him to her home, and giving him alcohol, statements indicated. He said he was doing marijuana, right? She admitted to having marijuana in the house, but claimed that she did not give it to the boy and denied all of that. In other words, plied the youngster with alcohol was okay. The Mesa, Arizona native was subsequently charged with 2 felony counts of rape of a child between the ages of 16 and 17 years old, and whom the perpetrator 3 or more years older was, and who is more than 3 years or more. Or let me try this again. 3 or more years older than, as well as a felony count of controlled substance delivery and a misdemeanor of dispensing alcohol to a minor. She is currently being held in the Madison County Jail with a bond of $250,000. She got arrested in Idaho, folks. If this was in San Francisco, they wouldn't even have brought up charges. All right. Earlier this year, Lawson updated her Facebook cover photo to a snapshot of a poem about occasions when placing an out-of-order sign across your heart seemed to be the wisest decision, only you didn't, which reads cryptically, given the context of her arrest. Basically, the kid was driving erratically and forgot to turn the lights on. Okay? And I don't. Mr. Barkley. We will follow this to see whether or not this woman actually faces any kind of serious consequences for her actions. I suspect that she will, though, because they seem to be unamused with the fact that she was plying the teenager with drugs and alcohol. Just putting it out there. Dave Portney fumes over the loss of a $120,000 wager after Joe Burrow injury. Class action lawsuit. Dave Portney wants his hard-earned $120,000 back. The controversial Barstool Sports founder, known as El Perez, is fuming after he lost his $120,000 wager on ESPN Bet, formerly known as Barstool Sportsbook, on the Bengals to cover as 4-point underdogs on Thursday against the Ravens. His beef is that the Bengals did not disclose a potential hand/wrist injury for Joe Burrow, which loomed large when Burrow exited the game late in the first half with his right throwing wrist sprain. The Ravens then cruised to a 34-20 victory. The problem with this and why I'm doing this story. The NFL got in bed with gambling. Okay? And these stories now are coming again and again and again where dubious actions are being taken place in the public when it comes to these sports bets. Okay? And people are saying that it's interfering with the integrity of the game. Okay? Now, in this case, it wasn't a matter of interfering with the integrity of the game on the field, per se, but it's people are shading points. Now, I don't know who Dave Portnoy is because I never followed Barstool Sports, right? And I don't really care. Okay? If you want to spend money gambling on sports booking or any other kind of gambling, more power to you. You are foolish. You're being foolish. Okay. Even when I gamble, and I do gamble from time to time, all right, because it's fun. But I don't do sports betting or anything like that. Right? I don't bet on sports or any of the rest of that. And the reason for it is very simple. Okay. There's too much corruption. It's one thing to go to a casino, go to a slot machine, and say, okay, it's rigged against me, but I want to pull the lever. It's another thing to sit up there and go, okay, well, I'm going to sit up there and place a bet on a wager on which team I want to win, and have that person go, well, I'm being paid not to perform. Now, I'm not accusing Joe Burrow, all right, of doing this. What I'm saying is that the integrity of the game is at risk. And the NFL did this to themselves. They put their own people, they put their own industry at risk now because of this. So why? Why would you do that? It's insane. It's absolutely insane what they've done. Courtney is a scammer who made money doing those SPACs. I don't know what SPACs is. Right? So I apologize for that. But it still comes down to the same thing. Like I said, you're screwing up the integrity of the game. You can't. The sports betting has destroyed teams. Right? It's going to destroy football as we know it. It is what it is. Update story time. Former porn actor Ron Jeremy to be released right, to private residence with rape case frozen and health deteriorating. The former porn king, Ron Jeremy, is in such poor health that he will now be released to a private residence less than a year after he was formally declared incompetent to stand trial on more than 30 counts of sexual assault. Jeremy, who is suffering from dementia and was placed under a conservator earlier this year, has been in the men's central jail in downtown LA for months while awaiting assignment to a state medical facility. But on Friday, a judge granted a request to release the 70-year-old to a private residence where he will receive round-the-clock medical care after it was determined that no medical facility will take him. The email written to the victims of Jeremy's criminal's case by the Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Paul Thompson noted that Jeremy's medical condition has deteriorated to the point where he is essentially bedridden. All right, Thompson cited public safety concerns in objecting to the motion to release Jeremy, which was filed on the defendant's behalf in the county office of public guardian, but was overruled in an email. Okay, the fact is, this guy, dementia destroys the mind. Okay, it totally destroys the mind. For those people who've had relatives go through it, it's heartbreaking to watch somebody that you knew as a vibrant, person deteriorate to the point where they're not even there. They're not even aware of the world around them. And I'm not wishing this on Jeremy. I'm not saying this, but in this case here, look, you can't keep people in jail without being convicted of a crime. If Ron Jeremy had been convicted of a crime, then he should be spending this time in prison. But he hasn't been convicted of a crime. And they can't go forward with a trial. You're going to have to put him in some kind of facility to take care of him for the rest of his life, however long that is. And generally, when they get to this point, you're talking maybe a year, maybe two. He never looked like he was in good health at any point to begin with. So, on to more degeneracy. Astonishing story of a father who forced a pedophile best friend to dig his own grave and then kill himself when he discovered that he had abused his little girl and was then sent to a Russian prison but freed after public outcry. This guy should be given a medal. It was a shocking case of betrayal and a furious retribution that resonated with horrified parents world over. In a remote woodlands in the deepest of Russia, an estranged Alexeyev Masterov, stood face to face with the one-time friend and babysitter he caught abusing his 6-year-old daughter. Moments later, after a vicious knife fight, 32-year-old Oleg Svirdov was dead. Masterov having apparently succeeded in making the child sex attacker dig his own grave and then take his own life. The extraordinary story of how the father confronted the abuser of his child instantly struck a chord with the public. Even more so when Masterov was arrested on suspicion of murder, which could have seen him face a lengthy spell in jail. His arrest was accompanied by an outcry from the villagers who pitched together to fund his winding legal battle, declaring that every father would have done this. He's not wrong. Eventually, the 35-year-old was convicted of inciting a person to suicide or attempted suicide by threats or abuse and served 6 months of an 18-month sentence. Masterov and Oleg Svirdov had been good friends before the deadly episode unfolded. Svirdov would often babysit Masterov's children, and the pair had for a long time been close and trusting friends. Nobody could have suspected what was really going on. They left their children with him all the time. Svirdov's mother would later comment, when he babysat these girls, he came back home as normal, in a good mood. He must have been drunk. Most likely he was drunk, she said, trying to understand how her son could have become such a monster. Because your son was a monster. Okay? It doesn't matter how he became a monster, he was a monster. And the father took the actions necessary to protect his children once he found out about it. Okay? It's unfortunate that this was the case. But to be honest, I have literally no problem with what this guy did. None. I don't even know. Personally, I think the prosecutor should have been charged with even bringing this case. Dad took out the garbage. Yep, that's exactly what. I'm pretty sure I've been drunk thousands of times, and the worst I've done is a small bar fight. Again, do not call 911 about your stolen drugs. I don't know why you're even bothering to give this advice. If people want to do it, we should be encouraging this behavior. We really should be encouraging this behavior. We should be trying to discourage it. On November 17th, for the umpteenth time, do not call the police to report that somebody stole your drugs, especially if your name is on a pair of outstanding warrants. Cops were dispatched around 2 a.m. yesterday to a Best Western hotel or motel in Stuart, Florida, in reference to a theft. Upon arriving at the hotel, the officer spoke with Lily Rinker, 23, who had called 911 to report that a male friend she had met last week stole her marijuana. Rinker explained that she had $30 worth of pot in her grinder, but after Carlos departed the room, she noticed about half a gram was missing from her stash. Rinker stated that she did not know what to do, so she decided to call the police. Rinker, whose home address is listed as an apartment in a complex in Juniper, was questioned by a Stewart Police Department officer who determined that she had a pair of open arrest warrants in Palm Beach County. According to court records, one arrest was issued after Rinker failed to show for court hearings in connection with an outstanding criminal mischief case. The second came after Rinker did not appear for a probation violation hearing in connection with a DUI conviction. She was arrested last year for allegedly striking her father in the face during an argument. Rinker told cops she had become upset upon learning that her parent had posted an online photo of her holding a vape. She noted that she is a college athlete and could not be seen holding a vape. But you have enough weed in a blender? I mean, come on. Oh my God. This is what Batman is terrified of me going into. An Iowan, all right. A man pleasured self, then departed from a come-and-go store. An Iowan pleasured himself outside a come-and-go store and then departed for his nearby apartment, according to an indecent exposure complaint filed following his arrest yesterday. According to cops, victims called 911 to report an unknown male had said sexual things to them and began masturbating in their presence. After the police canvassed near the come and go, officers identified Kenneth Lee Kelly, 54, as a suspect in a public pleasure session. Name the store checks out. Okay, for those who don't know, Iowa and Nebraska both have these stores. They're called Come and Go, and that's exactly how they're spelled. A search warrant of Kelly's apartment resulted in the seizure of garments that matched their surveillance and traffic cam video from the incident. Additionally, a photo lineup was conducted, and the victims independently identified Kelly as the 12:30 a.m. Come and Go masturbator. Oh my God, the degeneracy continues, and it gets worse. It gets worse. I know. I can hear it already. I can see Sean going, worse. There's just no way. This is worse. Cops. Lewd act done atop dead marsupial. In a long storied history of American jurisprudence, these words have never previously appeared in a public police report or court filing. The defendant was observed defecating on a deceased possum with his pants lowered and his anal region exposed. Oh, he's going to sue the chain for false evidence. The unusual and repulsive incident transpired about 5:30 p.m. yesterday in full view of the motoring public during a busy traffic times on a street in Clearwater, Florida, of course, according to the arrest record or affidavit. Police allege that Ruby Wilcox, 45, was observed by an officer relieving himself upon the late marsupial as rush hour traffic passed by. After being read his rights, Wilcox denied the allegations and contended that the officer doesn't see straight. However, the affidavit states physical evidence was viewed at the scene which corroborates the allegations. At this point, readers may commence gagging. Wilcox, seen above, was arrested for exposure of his sexual organs, a misdemeanor, and booked in the county jail for a $150 bond. He remains behind bars at the time of this writing. Really? Really? I knew it was Florida. 2 stories left, folks. 2 stories. Company will pay someone $2,000 to watch 12 Hallmark movies. A subscription box company is seeking a special Christmas movie maven to get $2,000 to watch and rank 12 Hallmark holiday movies. Bloomsy Box said the chosen candidate will also receive an ample supply of Ghirardelli hot cocoa and 2 pairs of fuzzy socks to guarantee cozy watching. We've devised an ironclad rating system designed to stand up to the scrutiny of even the most steadfast of Scrooges, the website said. The film fan will be asked to rank each movie by criteria including festivity factor, predictability quotient, chemistry check, tear-jerker test, and replay value. The movies chosen for the experiment are The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, 2008, Crown for Christmas, 2015, The 9 Lives of Christmas, 2014, Christmas Getaway, 2017, Journey Back to Christmas, 2016, Ghosts of Christmas Always, 2022, Family for Christmas, 2015, Christmas Under Wraps, 2014, 3 Wise Men and a Baby, 2022, A Royal Christmas 2014, North Pole 2014, and The Christmas Train 2017. In addition to $2,000 payment, the chosen candidate will also receive a 12-month flower box subscription. Applications are open through December 3rd. So apply now. You can watch Hallmark movies and get paid. Just putting things in there. Thinking about the name, Come and Go sounds more like a brothel. Final story of the day, folks. Mystery cat caught on camera in Arizona mountains. All right, let's go take a look at this mystery cat, and let's watch this thing. That is not a house cat, folks. That is not a house cat, and it's all black. That is not a house cat. You can see if that was a house cat, you could tell because look how big it is in comparison to the house that's in the foreground. That looks like a black panther or a black jaguar. All right. Jaguars are known to be in Arizona, by the way. They do come up from Mexico. We don't believe there's a breeding, or is it just a black mountain lion, like a black sheep? That's a possibility as well. But normally pumas have a different type of, even when they're dark like that, they look a little different. It does look like a panther. Yeah, I think that the most likely scenario in this case either is that it's one of the rare black jaguars that's come up from Mexico, right? Or, and I think this is more likely, it's an exotic pet that somebody was keeping that it got away. Okay, probably someone's pet that they could no longer afford to feed. That's very possible. Now, it appears to be comfortable in those rocks. Okay, so I do think that if it was let out, it wasn't. I don't think it was a recent or escaped. I don't think it's recent. It looks like it's been on the prowl for quite a little while. Okay, these larger cats like this, including jaguars, can be very dangerous. Right, to children. They will predate humans. All right, they generally won't predate. Notice the word generally won't predate rather adults, but small dogs, cats, pets, they're all on the menu. They are on the menu, folks. And your child, if you have a small child, they can be on the menu too. So it will be interesting to see whether or not nature is recovering this lost landscape of theirs, because one of the things that has been happening in the areas is they've reintroduced the mountain goat species and sheep into these mountains around Phoenix and Tucson. And so when you bring in the herbivores, the carnivores begin to flourish again. Wakanda forever. I don't think. Mr. Barkley. Right? So these the predators will have a food source again. And that's very well what this could be. Let the kitty patrol us. The space between us and the place on the other side. Maybe it's wide. It'll be interesting. I'm hoping that this is a wild species and that it's coming back, because I would like to some of this stuff to turn back into natural. I do understand though that these things you gotta be careful because this is awful close to humans, and like I said, they will predate on human beings. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Thanks for all coming out, everybody. Hope that you all have a good day, and I will talk to you all later.